One of the greatest of all time, Christian Taylor, is finally hanging up his spikes and retiring from the sport.
Man, I just strive to be the best athlete I could be, but I just want to be a good person in the end and be a role model, let people know that either at the top or the bottom, give God glory. He's opened doors for me. He's helped me reach my dreams, my goals. I'm a proud Florida Gator. I bleed orange and blue. And for my journey to start and end here, I couldn't ask for a better career, a better journey.
Now, Christian Taylor has had an extremely long and successful career, dating all the way back to 2007 when he won his first gold medal at the World Youth Championships. But since that time frame, he's been able to literally dominate the triple jump in a way that almost no athlete in history has been able to do. And really, his career is only comparable to some of the other legends who have come up during the same time frame. You're talking about athletes like a Usain Bolt, like an Allison Felix, Veronica Campbell-Brown, Anita Vidalchik, Brittany Reese, right? These are some of the legends in the sport of track and field, and Christian Taylor hanging up his spikes now, retiring from the sport. He is very much in that same conversation and is going to go down as easily one of the greatest of all time. Well, I want to dive into Christian Taylor's career to not only talk about his accolades and all the medals and the records that he set, but also I want to talk about the impact that he had on the sport and how he was able to completely shift the landscape of the triple jump to bring it to where it is today, where we see so much dominance from a bunch of young athletes. So let's circle a little bit back into where he originally came from. Hailing from Georgia, he was one of the most dominant high school athletes in the entire country, where he was literally a triple threat in the triple jump, in the long jump, as well as the 400-meter dash. And that's going to be a theme throughout his career, not only from high school and college, but even as we go into the pro ranks. So in high school, in 2008, during the indoor season, he was actually the national champion indoors in all three events, the triple, the long jump, as well as the 400-meter dash. And that really carried over and was going to lead to a lot of success that he would have later on, again, in his college career as well as professional career. But most notably, while he was still just 17 years old, he actually won the World Youth Championships all the way out in Ostrava, where he got the gold medal in the triple jump, again, just 17 years old. And he was able to get the bronze medal in the long jump as well. And again, this was just kind of the first taste of global success that Christian Taylor would have throughout his career. He's going to deal with a lot of ups and downs, but this is going to be the first step to become the GOAT that he is today. Well, fast forward to 2008, finishes off his high school career. He goes on to attend the University of Florida down in Gainesville, and he really cemented himself as one of the greatest athletes in NCAA history, of course, specifically in that triple jump. While he was at Florida, he was a 4-time national champion in the triple jump, winning 2 times indoors as well as 2 times outdoors. But this wasn't an easy task, where he actually had some very, very competitive duels with Will Clay specifically, who originally competed for the University of Oklahoma and was an NCAA champion in his own right. But then when he came to Florida, he was pushing Christian Taylor to the max, where both of them were kind of going back and forth at various points throughout the various years that they were competing together. But one notable thing is that Christian Taylor also had some huge chops in the 400-meter dash, where coming off his success in high school, he was able to translate that to the University of Florida, where he was a mainstay for the 4x4s, many times where the University of Florida was in the team title hunt at the NCAA championships. Christian Taylor played a pivotal role as one of the 4x4 legs, the last event of the competition, to various times clinch the team title for the Florida Gators. And listen, that competitive spirit, being an NCAA champion in the triple jump, being a competitive athlete in the long jump, being a team player on that 4x4, that was really, really going to dictate how he played out his professional career. Well, 2011 was a very, very big year for Christian Taylor, as well as Will Clay. Again, let's not forget Will Clay, where they really fed off each other throughout their entire careers. 2011, Christian Taylor wins that NCAA outdoor title, and he decides, let me actually go take a chance at the World Championships that year going down in Daegu, South Korea. Well, he decided to go to the USA Championships and got the title there as well. Won USA's, Will Clay was right there by his side. Both of them were going to the World Championships in Daegu later on that summer. Well, he actually decided to compete a little bit on the circuit, and at the time that was the Diamond League, where we had competitions in Monaco, in London, and a couple other places, but those were the 2 major places where Christian Taylor was going to step his foot into the professional ranks. Well, at the Monaco Diamond League, his first quote-unquote professional meet, right, his first really, really big meet against some of the top competition in the world, Christian Taylor gets thrashed. And this was the first time that he really had a big eye-opening experience where, again, he was kind of going back and forth with Will Clay, but that was in the NCAA NCAA ranks, right? He can be, he was number 3 all time in the NCAA in terms of his marks. He was able to jump really far and at least be 1 or 2, again, himself and Will Clay. But when you get to the pro ranks, when you're talking about the Diamond League, Christian Taylor had a wake-up call. At the Monaco Diamond League, he actually finished 7th place, all the way down the pack, and that was his first time in a long time actually finishing that low in a competition. Well, that was a big wake-up call, and if he was going to the World Championships in Daegu, if he actually wanted to be competitive, he really had to prove it. Well, London Diamond League, not too long after Monaco, he showed up. 17.68 meters for Christian Taylor to get a massive personal best, to win that London Diamond League competition, and to really show up as, hold up, yeah, sure, I'm still young, I'm still developing, but I'm coming for a gold medal at those World Championships. And listen, he delivered when they got to Daegu. Daegu World Championships, Christian Taylor going up against Will Clay, going up against defending world champion Philippe Zidou from Great Britain. Christian Taylor, he jumped 17.96 meters to not only take the win, not only get the gold medal, but to move himself to number 6 all time in the triple jump. You're talking about only behind legends like a Kenny Harrison, like a Jonathan Edwards, like a Teddy Tamgo, right? He is in that same conversation with some of these legends, and he just is still a junior at the University of Florida. At that point, his duties as an NCAA athlete were done. He was going on to become a professional athlete, and at the top of 2012, he signed a professional contract with Li Ning, a Chinese sportswear brand, which was pretty exclusive because they only sponsored athletes like, Christian Taylor or even an Asafa Powell. They weren't really prevalent when talking about the American market, so this was a really, really big deal. And listen, he did not stop. 2012 season, he got a silver medal at the World Indoor Championships, only behind Will Clay. So again, that back and forth, both of them going toe-to-toe, head-to-head. I didn't even mention that Will Clay got a bronze medal at the World Championships in Daegu behind Christian Taylor and Philippe Zidou. But 2012, silver medal for Christian Taylor behind Will Clay. And then at the 2012 Olympic Games, Christian Taylor came out on top once again, gold medal in just his 2nd international global championships, gold medal in the triple jump, already proving himself as one of the best in the world. Yes, I came out the NCAA extremely consistent, but I took a little beating at the Monaco Diamond League, but then I picked things right back up, got the gold medal at the World Championships, then I followed that up and got the gold medal at the 2012 Olympic Games. But this was also the start of some setbacks, some injuries, and really a kind of awakening that was going to change his entire perspective and really change the landscape of the triple jump as a whole. So even though he was on top of the world, he was going into the 2013 World Championship year as the clear favorite for the gold medal, but injury setbacks started to creep up and really prevented Christian from doing what he was truly capable of. At those World Championships in Moscow 2013, Christian Taylor only got him 4th place at those World Championships. You saw Teddy Tamgo from France jump 18.04 meters for the gold medal. You saw the young rising star in Pedro Pichardo. He got the silver medal. Will Clay, he got the bronze medal. Christian Taylor was relegated to that 4th place. Again, those injury setbacks just continued to creep up on him, and he wasn't able to deliver on that day. So despite all the success he had, this was his first kind of really, really big setback on the global stage. But this was also going to be an opportunity for him to really look deep into himself, see what was going on, and really just shift things. Again, shift the landscape of the triple jump with this little change that he did. So 2014, that's the off year, so there was no global championships, there was no worlds or Olympics. So Christian Taylor used this opportunity to kind of switch things up and play around with some things and really shift his focus and specifically shift his jumping leg. So him and his coach, Rainer Ryder, they decided that, listen, things aren't working out, right? We're getting injured too much. We're dealing with too many setbacks. We got to switch our takeoff leg. Christian Taylor would originally take off with his left leg throughout his entire career, but he decided to switch it up and start taking off with his right leg. And this is not an easy feat, right? You're talking about switching your takeoff leg, switching, your hop, step, jumps throughout the entire triple jump, switching how you're actually finishing off that final jump to get into the sand, right? This isn't just, oh, let me switch your leg. No, this is a completely different transition that he was going to have to relearn. And that's why in 2014, it was important for him to use that entire off year to relearn, understand how he can actually start to take off from his right leg.
Then I started having some different injuries, and it got to the point where I was finding it difficult to compete at the top level. So my coach and I decided to make the transition, and instead of jumping from the left leg, we started jumping from the right leg, and yeah, it was a bit risky. The first year was very tough, and I actually lost pretty much every competition except 2. And so obviously mentally that can be very tough.
and it truly paid off. 2014 was very, very tough. Now, he didn't win most of his competitions. I think only towards the end of the season when he started to get in the groove of things, started to really understand, his takeoff leg, his jumping and all that, he finally started to win, I think, 2 or 3 competitions, but it was not easy. He ended off the 2014 season with a best of 17.51 meters, so not nearly close to, some of his personal bests or, even season's best from the previous years, but it showed the progression and got away from those 17.1s and 17.2s that he was doing early in 2014. So going into 2015, he was really, really feeling confident. And on top of that, throughout that year, he was competing a lot despite the setbacks and despite the change. He competed in the long jump. He also did some 400s throughout the year. Most notably, he went to the World Relays in the Bahamas. And remember I was talking about that 4x4s all the way back in Florida? Well, he ran the 4x4 at the World Relays in 2014 in the Bahamas, and he got a gold medal as part of the USA team. So just showing his consistency, showing his range and his ability to not only be a team player, but to be this extremely versatile athlete despite only being relegated to the triple jump for the most part when talking about public exposure and public understanding. But let's move on to 2015, where this was the year. 2015, everything completely changed in the triple jump, not only with Christian Taylor, but with the entire event as a whole. Now, first off, he signed a completely new deal with Nike, moving on from Li Ning. And again, like I noted, Li Ning was a Chinese sportswear brand, but they weren't really focused on American athletes for the most part, or international athletes, and they started to pull back their sponsorships. So Christian Taylor decided to switch over to Nike, and he's with Nike. He's been with them for the rest of his entire career. Well, first off, at the top of 2015, he's starting off with his new takeoff leg, that right leg instead of his left. He used all of 2014 to relearn and understand how you could be successful, and it paid off. 2015 at the Doha Diamond League, the first Diamond League of the entire year. He was going up against Pedro Pichardo from Cuba, who at the top of the year, Pichardo had already jumped 17.94 meters. So he was already on a roll. He was the silver medalist from the 2013 World Championships, beating out Christian Taylor. So this was going to be a very good head-to-head at this Doha Diamond League, and it proved to be arguably the greatest triple jump competition that we've ever seen. Pichardo jumped 18.06 meters to take the win at the Doha Diamond League. Christian Taylor was right behind though, jumping 18.04 meters. It was a personal best. It made him the #2 American all-time. It made him the #4 athlete of all time in the triple jump, and really proved that, hold on, yes, I switched up my legs. I moved from my left to my right in terms of my takeoff, and it's really, really paying off. Yes, he lost the competition, but guess what? Remember, he was extremely dominant. 2011 world champion, 2012 Olympic champion. Despite the setback in 2013, he's now in the form of his life. Yes, Pichardo was there, and we're gonna talk about that progression, but this really, really was proven to pay off. Well, he followed that up immediately at the Lausanne Diamond League later on this summer, and he jumped 18 meters once again, but not once, actually twice in the same competition. He jumped 18.06 meters for a new personal best, again, moving him further and further up in terms of the 18-meter ranks, but in that same competition, he had an ancillary jump of 18.20 meters. And when we're talking about jumping 18 meters, this is truly unprecedented, where Christian Taylor had done it 3 times in one season. This is only surpassed at the moment by Jonathan Edwards, the world record holder, who had done it 4 times throughout his entire career. So Christian Taylor going up the ranks in terms of one of the greatest of all time, and he was not done. Entering the World Championships in Beijing 2015, he was pretty much neck and neck with Pichardo. Pichardo had jumped 18.08 meters earlier in the season, and like I noted in Doha, the Doha Diamond League, he had beaten Christian Taylor jumping 18.06 meters. So this was one of the greatest head-to-heads entering the World Championships that we had seen in a long time, and Christian Taylor delivered. In the World Championship final, on his final jump in Beijing, in that triple jump competition, he jumped 18.21 meters. Personal best, American record, #2 all time, only behind Jonathan Edwards' world record, just 8 centimeters away of that world record of 18.29 meters, set all the way back in 1995. Christian Taylor at this moment got another World Championship title, his second throughout his career, already had an Olympic title, and now he is that close to the world record. Again, he is still growing, still developing. He just switched from his left to his right leg. This is not an easy task for any athlete to do, but Christian Taylor was proving why he was one of the greatest of all time. And this just set off a wave of success that he would ride over the next couple years. 2016 Olympic Games in Rio, gold medal. Second time that he stood on top of the podium at the Olympic Games in the triple jump, which is only matched by 4 other athletes in history. We'll talk about all of them later. But on top of that, followed it up in 2017, got his 3rd World Championship title at the London World Championships. Followed that up in 2019, got his 4th World Championship title at the World Championships in Doha. That is unprecedented. There's no other athlete in history who has been able to get 4 World Championship titles. Christian Taylor just did it all. And in the midst of that, remember, he had been jumping 18 meters consistently throughout his career. In 2015, 1806, 1802, 1804, 18.21. In 2017, at the Prefontaine Classic, he jumped 18.11 meters in the triple jump. That was another 18-meter jump, the 3rd farthest jump in history, only behind Jonathan Edwards' world record, only behind his 18.21 second best all time, proving that he is extremely consistent. And remember, I can't stress this enough, he switched his jumping take-off leg. He switched from taking off from his left over to his right, and he rode that all throughout his career. So, 2019, 4-time world champion, 2-time Olympic champion, second best of all time. Now he has 5 marks over the 18-meter barrier, which is the most of any athlete in history. He is riding high. Now, after that, we did have the COVID year in 2020, so he wasn't able to compete at the Olympic Games. At the top of 2021, when the Olympics were coming up, he did pick up an Achilles injury, and that really set him back. He wasn't able to kind of progress. He wasn't able to make the Olympic team to Tokyo. He, of course, did have the World Championship bye to the Eugene Worlds in 2022, but because of that Achilles injury, it just really continued to hinder him and have those setbacks. And then finally, he decided in 2024 to end his career. He was never able to fully recover.
It just helped me build my spirit of resilience, of perseverance. You know, when life is going to throw you lemons, you got to make lemonade. And so it's not, you know, how you fall, it's how you get up. And actually the people that are around you have just been a critical part of my recovery, of my comeback. And so whether my agency, my family, the Gator Nation, you know, I felt like even when I was at my lowest, I had people really lifting me up, holding me up and just saying, just keep going. And so I'm just extraordinarily proud and grateful of this school and my support circle.
But that's not really the end. I want to slightly go back to 2019 at the end of the season after he won his 4th World Championship gold. I want to talk about Christian Taylor as the athlete, as the advocate, as a human being, and kind of the support that he gave to the track and field world as a whole when there were some really, really big setbacks coming to the sport. At the end of the 2019 season after Worlds, World Athletics, formerly known as the IAAF, they actually chose to cut a whole bunch of events from the Diamond League circuit and deem them as not the core events, or quote unquote whatever that meant, right? And those were the triple jump, the discus, the steeplechase, as well as the 200-meter dash. And this was by way of doing some market research or fan research, whatever it was. They deemed that these were not the, you know, top events or the, you know, fan-loved events, and they decided to cut them from the core program of the Diamond League. Well, that didn't sit well with Christian Taylor, who was coming off not only one of the greatest careers of a triple jumper in history, but literally one of the greatest performances at the 2015 World, 4-time world champion. Like, all these accolades he had built up, and now his event was getting cut from the Diamond League. Nah, Christian Taylor didn't sit well with that. So by way of this, Christian Taylor created the Athletes Association, which really gave a voice to athletes and an opportunity to truly advocate for themselves when they otherwise couldn't, especially in a situation like this. And essentially what the Athletes Association was an independent body whose mission was to ensure that the best interests of elite track and field athletes are protected and fought for. They were there to help advance and grow the sport, and to do so with athletes being the priority. And guess what? Because of Christian Taylor spearheading the Athletes Association, along with Emma Coburn and a couple other athletes as well, they were able to scrap World Athletics' plan for, you know, cutting out all these events, specifically the triple, the steeple, 200 discus, and ensure that they were going to be part of the Diamond League schedule. And they succeeded. As we know today, there have not been any events cut. Now, we can talk about other initiatives and different things like that, but those events are still part of the Diamond League, and Christian Taylor was an advocate for that. And listen, that not only spoke to the advocate and the athlete that Christian Taylor was, but that spoke to the human being and the person that he was, always working to ensure that the athletes are able to be the best that they can be, to be in the best spaces that they can be and have the best opportunities that they can be, because being a professional athlete is not easy. Christian Taylor wanted the best for all athletes in the sport, regardless of what level, regardless of what event, no matter where they're at.
To be honest, I really got a buzz with the next generation. And so I was always thinking, whether in training or whether in competition, I was always ready for that next one. And so that's what kept that fanned my flame. It kept me going. I always felt that no matter how hungry I was, there was somebody that needed it or wanted it more than me. And I think that's what helped me stay successful and help my longevity.
Huge kudos to Christian Taylor. And I think World Athletics now has some sort of athletes association, or at least an athletes commission, where they have a voice for certain athletes to make sure that they're being part of the decisions that are being made as part of track and field. Without the athletes, the sport is nothing, right? You can have these governing bodies, you can have all these different aspects, but if the athletes aren't competing, then there's nothing really to the sport. And again, Christian Taylor is really the embodiment of that.
I always wanted to be more than an athlete, right? I wanted to be an advocate. I wanted to be an ambassador. I wanted to be someone that ultimately represented something bigger than myself, that's my Lord and Savior, my sponsors, my university. And so, when I compete, it's Taylor on my chest, but, it's also USA on my chest. It's also Nike on my, and so I just take a lot of pride in representing, my country, these sponsors, my Lord, to the max. And so I always give it my all. And when I lay down at night, I just hope that I could encourage and motivate someone to, possibly inspire someone to either get into athletics or maybe just face that hurdle that seems unbeatable in front of them.
So let's look at some of the accolades that Christian Taylor has been able to develop throughout his 15-year plus career in the triple jump, and prove why he is one of the greatest, not only triple jumpers, but athletes of all time. He of course started off with that 2007 World Youth Gold Medal in the triple jump, but fast forward, two-time Olympic gold medalist, 2012 as well as 2016. That has only been matched by 4 other athletes in history. Viktor Slaniev from the Soviet Union, he actually won 3 golds in 1968, 1972, and 1976. Joseph Smith, he won 2 golds in 1960 and 1964. Ademar da Silva from Brazil, he won 2 golds in 1952 and 1956. And then Meyer Princeton, he won 2 golds in 1900 as well as 1904. So Christian Taylor is amongst the greatest of all time. Only 4 other athletes that can even match this accolade, and 1 other athlete who surpassed it when we're talking about Olympic gold medals. Follow that up, 4-time world champion. No other athlete in history has ever won 4 gold medals, not even 3 gold medals. The next best person to do it was actually Jonathan Edwards. Jonathan Edwards has 2 world championship gold medals. He doesn't have the 4, he has 2 world championship gold medals, but Christian Taylor, 1 of 1 with 4 gold medals in the world championship triple jump. Follow that up, 7-time Diamond League champion. This is absolutely unprecedented. And forget about the triple jump, just any event at all, any athlete who's competed in the Diamond League. This is only matched by Renaud Lavillenie in the pole vault from France. He also won 7 Diamond League titles throughout his career, but only those 2, Christian Taylor and Renaud Lavillenie. After that, you had Valerie Adams in the shot put. She won 6 titles in the Diamond League, and then you have a couple other athletes who have won 5 titles. But Christian Taylor, 7-time Diamond League champion in that triple jump, absolutely unprecedented. And we're only, I think, in the 14th or 15th year of the Diamond League. So you're talking about Christian Taylor winning half of all the Diamond League titles in the triple jump throughout the entire existence of the Diamond League. Absolutely unprecedented, and speaks to his accomplishments throughout his career. Now, let's talk about those marks. I told you about all the times that he was hitting those 18-meter jumps throughout his career. Well, he arguably is the greatest 18-meter jumper, at least in terms of consistency. He has 5 marks over the 18-meter barrier. 18.21 meters, number 2 all time, 18.11 meters, 18.06, 18.04, and 18.02 meters. 5 marks over the 18-meter barrier. No other athlete has been able to do that throughout their entire career legally. Jonathan Edwards, he has the next best with 4 marks over the 18-meter barrier. And of course, he has that world record of 18.29 meters. He has a couple windy jumps as well, but legally, Jonathan Edwards only has those 4. After that, you get to Pichardo, who has done it 3 times. Will Clay, he's done it 2 times. And then a couple other guys have done it once throughout their careers. So that marks department, Christian Taylor has it sewn up in terms of that consistency with 5 marks over the 18-meter barrier. Now, just to further highlight the dominance that Christian Taylor was able to display throughout his career, of the 7 guys who have been able to jump 18 meters in the history of the triple jump, 4 of them did it in the Christian Taylor era. And of course, that includes Christian Taylor with Christian, Pedro Pichardo, Will Clay, as well as Teddy Tamgo. You're talking about Teddy Tamgo back in 2013 jumping 18.04 meters. You're talking about Pedro Pichardo jumping 18.08 meters in 2015. You're talking about Will Clay jumping 18.14 meters in 2019. And then of course, Christian Taylor himself, 18.21 meters in 2015. So these are all guys that Christian Taylor went head to head against. He's jumped 18 meters against them. They jumped 18 meters against him. He has been able to compete against the best in the world and the best throughout history. So there's no argument for, oh, he was jumping against, lighter competition. He was doing it by himself. No, the best guys in history were jumping their best against Christian Taylor, and he came out on top as a 2-time Olympic champion, as a 4-time world champion, as a 7-time Diamond League champion. This just speaks to his dominance throughout his entire career that is absolutely unmatched, not only in the triple jump, but in the sport of track and field as a whole. Only a few athletes have been able to replicate his dominance. So as I said at the top, it's absolutely undeniable that Christian Taylor literally shifted the landscape of the men's triple jump and really set the foundation for what we're seeing today and what we're going to be seeing in the future of the event.
I'm glad we're talking about it, right? At the end of the day, that was always my goal, to show athletes that 18-meter barrier is something that is tangible. And I just think that I just want to encourage these athletes to step up to the plate, make triple jump a premier event. We can do it. The high jump has done it. The pole vault has done it. Why not triple jump? That's one thing I've always asked my competitors. Why not triple jump be a premier event? And so the talent is there. We need these 18-meter, we need these 59 feet jumps. That's what makes it exciting.
So an absolute competitor, a champion, and one of the most compassionate human beings, Christian Taylor will easily go down as not only one of the greatest triple jumpers, not only one of the greatest field eventers, but easily one of the greatest athletes in the history of track and field. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Tailor-made, a decorated U.S. Olympian.